any moment now, but suffice to say KPIT Tech should come up on your screen. That is the big number. Remember, EBITDA margin expansion, very, very strong. I think that alone did the trick. The question, as Parag Thakur was saying, whether this can sustain. And Sachin joins us right now on the show. Really good having you. Thanks so much for joining in. And firstly, congratulations on what we've been saying since the morning. It's been a spectacular quarter. How has this happened? A 400 or 420, 25 bips, give or take a few, EBITDA margin expansion. How has this happened? Is this sustainable, more importantly?
Yes. So we are very happy with the progress that we've made in the last couple of quarters. Q4 of last year was a wake-up call for us, and we sort of decided to step back and make sure that we get our operational levers in place so that we have a better handle on all the operational levers. We put an operational framework together, and that operational framework is now paying off. So three primary reasons for the shift that you've seen over the last couple of quarters. Number one, the quality of revenue has gone up. We have taken some hard calls on what we call long-tail customers, where they were not adding to our bottom lines, and we were not strategic to them. The new customers that we have added and the business that has grown in the existing customers has been the right kind of business both for our customers as well as for us. So that has made a difference, a qualitative difference, both in the top line as well as in the bottom line. Second is the operational framework that we talked about, whether it's the utilization of the employees, whether it's the intake of people from campus, the span of control and the pyramid. We just have a much better handle across the organization. Earlier, it was sort of siloed in some ways. Now there is one KPIT framework, which is an operating system for us that is getting implemented. So we believe that most of the growth that you've seen in the EBITDA is sustainable, and as the growth comes back on the top line, we'll continue to improve on it.
Sachin, hi, morning. So what was the volume growth and realization improvement, and how is pricing trend looking now, since many of your bigger peers have said competitive intensity has increased and pricing pressure is being experienced in large deals?
Good question. There are always competitive pressures. As you know, over the last 5 or 6 years, most of the customers are demanding more and more for less. And one of the things that we've been doing as an organization over the last 4 or 5 years is to focus on few verticals that are relevant to us and create innovative solutions, come up with new products and offerings so that we can do more with less without having a negative impact on our bottom line. Now it seems like we are getting there. It's a journey, but we are getting there. So there is competitive pressure, whether it's the Americas or Europe. We are also seeing some competitive pressure on pricing in Asia. But we are getting ready to face it so that our customers see value in what we do for them. At the same time, it doesn't affect our bottom line negatively. From overall growth perspective, we are fairly bullish on Asia, basically because of the offerings that we have on the product engineering side as well as on the enterprise IT side. They are relevant for the markets, and I think we are in a position to capture a good chunk of that. Europe has shown good signs of growth for us over the last 2 quarters, so we'll continue to do well in Europe. US, it's 66% of our business, and comparatively the growth has been slower, but the automotive transportation market continues to look fairly decent there. Even though there are crises in the energy side, we believe that we'll have reasonable growth coming out of US as we get into the next few quarters.
Right. So now you expect Q2 margins to be sustained in Q3 despite the cyclical factors, despite the seasonality. But what about the overall improvement which you're targeting or aiming in next 12 to 18 months?
Good question. So, seasonality is going to impact all of us, and it will impact the top line. However, we believe that the current margins are sustainable through Q3, and they will only get better in Q4. We also expect a little bit of growth in Q4. If you take a longer term perspective, we are very bullish for a couple of reasons. We believe that on the industry segments that are relevant to us, we actually continue to make substantial investments to create innovative solutions, whether they are in the space of digital transformation using Internet of Things. And we are actually leveraging our strengths across product engineering and IT to come up with unique solutions for our customers. So in spite of some of the hiccups in the last year, we believe that the picture is going to be good over the next 12 to 18 months. We'll go back to our growing ways. It's just that the difference is going to be we'll have a much better handle on our operations going forward.
Right. And you said that the H1 growth was not a focus area, but recovery has been commendable. In H1, I think you've done 1570 crores on the top line, 120 on the bottom line. So will H2 see a higher top line and bottom line number? And if so, how much better?
This is 1 year we've been sort of gun shy to make commitments on the top line growth. However, what I can say is, in H1 has been a good start, especially getting our arms around the operations, and we are very happy with the progress that we have made. When it comes to Q3, which is the beginning of H2, it's a seasonally downward trend. However, we do expect growth to come back, both in top line and bottom line in Q4. So we expect better H2 over H1, in spite of the seasonal downtrend in Q3.
All right, and tell us, lastly, before we wrap up, tell us about your large deal wins. How does the order book stand, and what are the notable conversions that you are expecting from the pipeline in the Q3 and the near term?
Large deals, the shape and form of large deals is changing for us as we bring more and more innovative solutions to our customers. It's usually a combination of what we do in product engineering services and what we do on the enterprise IT side. So the shape and size is changing in terms of the industry segments, in terms of the geography, and in terms of the nature of these large deals. Earlier, most of the large deals were happening in the US. Now they're happening in US, Europe, as well as in Asia, including Africa. On the other hand, there used to be large transformational deals. We continue to do a few transformational deals, but the new deals are actually more on the IoT and digital transformation side, where we are combining our traditional enterprise IT with our IoT and digital transformation solutions using our product engineering capabilities. So the nature of these deals is slightly different, and that's why they're going to take a little longer than the traditional large deals to realize. So right now the pipeline looks pretty healthy across all the geographies.
So good chatting with you. Thanks much for taking the time out and telling us all about KPIT Technologies, which, by the way, is the star performer today. That stock is holding up, a double-digit gain coming in for KPIT, still looking good by almost 12%.